Today we have 75 random facts that will blow your mind. Did you know that Loch Ness holds more water than all the lakes, rivers, canals, and reservoirs in the whole of England and Wales combined? Contrary to popular belief, the giraffe's long neck likely evolved primarily as an advantage in male-to-male combat, not solely for reaching higher foliage. Venus flytraps can count. They need to be triggered twice within 20 seconds to snap shut, preventing them from wasting energy on raindrops. Avocados contain persin, a fungicidal toxin that is less harmful to humans but can be highly toxic to many other animals. Four-leaf clovers are considered lucky because they're not as common as the typical three-leaf clover, but how rare are they really? There's about one four-leaf clover for every 5,000 three-leaf clovers. Also, four-leaf clovers tend to be found in clusters. Their occurrence is influenced by both genetics and environmental factors. The pineal gland, located deep in the center of the brain, gets its name from the French pineal, or like a pine cone, itself derived from the Latin pinea, pine cone. Since the World Chess Championship began in 1886, the title has been decided by a checkmate only once, which occurred in 1929. Most championship games typically end in resignation when one player realizes defeat is inevitable, rather than playing until actual checkmate. Brazil is the only country to play in every World Cup between 1930 and 2022. Zebras and ostriches frequently graze together in mixed herds, particularly in open savannas and grasslands. Zebras have good eyesight but less acute hearing, while ostriches have excellent eyesight and hearing, but perhaps less developed close-range vision. When one detects a threat, they alert the others, increasing the overall safety of the group. A snail would take approximately 140 hours, nearly 6 days without stopping, to walk 1 kilometer or about 0.62 miles. A tuna can swim up to 64 kilometers or around 40 miles in a single day. There are more than 2,600 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 20 are dedicated to fictional characters. The deepest point in Loch Ness, 230 meters or 755 feet, is twice the average depth of the North Sea, which is around 90 meters or 295 feet. The La Champ excursion was a significant event in Earth's history. It was a temporary reversal of the planet's magnetic field that occurred around 41,000 years ago. In their native Central American habitat, poinsettias, or Euphorbia pulcherrima, can grow up to 15 feet tall or around 5 meters. Mount Kilimanjaro, located in Tanzania, is the highest mountain in Africa, with its summit reaching an elevation of 5,895 meters or 19,341 feet above sea level. It is not only the highest mountain in Africa, but also the highest freestanding mountain in the world, meaning it is not part of a mountain range. The fear of flowers is called anthophobia. Anthos is the Greek word for flowers. Botanophobia is the fear of plants in general. Androphobia refers to the fear of trees. Ever wonder why so many African flags feature green, yellow, and red? It all goes back to the Ethiopian flag. Ethiopia was one of the few African nations to remain independent during the colonial era, so when other African countries were gaining their independence, they looked to Ethiopia for inspiration, including its flag's colors. The highest mountain in the United Kingdom is in Scotland. Ben Nevis is 4,413 feet or 1,345 meters tall. In Brazil, 3 out of 5 billionaires made their fortune from beer. Highway 1 in Australia is the longest highway in the world, spanning around 14,500 kilometers or 9,000 miles in total. Of all the 20,000 bee species, only about 800 species actually produce honey. During its lifetime, a honeybee will visit about 20,000 flowers. There are over 20,000 documented bee species. Out of these, the western honeybee is the most populous, and only 600 species are stingless. An anteater, like the giant anteater, is nearly 6 feet long, yet its mouth is only an inch wide. Anteaters don't have teeth. They use their super long tongues to eat bugs, which they crush with their stomach muscles. The electric eel isn't an eel at all. In fact, the electric eel is a type of knife fish, the common term for the order Gymnotiformes, and only earned its name due to the snake-like appearance it shares with eels. Unlike true eels, the electric eel breathes air, lays its eggs in fresh, not ocean water, and has no teeth or dorsal fin. The Dead Sea is around 430 meters or 1,410 feet below sea level. The first ocean to be crossed by an airplane was the Atlantic Ocean. It was also the first ocean to be crossed by a ship. The average depth of the ocean is generally accepted to be around 3,682 meters or approximately 2.3 miles. A year on Mars is 1.8 years on Earth, or 687 days to be exact. However, a Martian day, called a sol, is approximately 24 hours and 39 minutes long. The diameter of Mars is 53% of the Earth's diameter, making it the second smallest planet in the solar system, right after Mercury. The name Pinocchio comes from the Tuscan dialect of Italy. It's derived from pino, meaning pine tree, and the suffix occhio, which is a diminutive form, so roughly translates to little pine. There are 94 naturally occurring chemical elements in the world, and our bodies are made up over 60 of them. These are essential to our makeup, but only 6 of them make up for 99% of us: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Though carbon is everywhere, even inside of stars, it was not produced by the Big Bang. Instead, carbon atoms are produced by helium atoms, which are fused together during the formation of red giants by dying stars. Dogs have slits on the outside of each nostril, which allow him to exhale without disturbing the scent particles in front of his nose. Breathing out the side slits helps release air while holding scent particles in the nostrils so that a dog isn't as likely to lose a scent. This helps the dog determine where a scent is coming from. The candela is the base unit of luminous intensity in the International System of Units. It measures the power emitted by a light source in a particular direction, weighted by the luminosity function. In simpler terms, the candela measures how bright a light source appears to the human eye from a specific direction. According to NASA, nuclear power prevented an average of over 1.8 million deaths between 1971 and 2009 as a result of lower air pollution from reduced coal usage. The Dewey Decimal System is a library classification system created by Melville Dewey in 1876. The system allows for books to be added to a library based on their subject matter rather than the order in which they were purchased. The classification number that is assigned to the book makes it possible to find any book and return it to its rightful place on the shelf. Dewey is used in 200,000 libraries across 135 countries. According to the National Watermelon Promotion Board, the ideal watermelon should be about 92% water. The huntsman spider is a species of arachnid that does not build webs. Instead, these large spiders hunt and forage for their meals. They eat insects and other invertebrates, sometimes even treating themselves to the occasional small skink or gecko. Around 3/4 of all robins in Britain, either through being unable to fend or becoming prey, die before their first birthday. The oldest red robin ever recorded was 13 years old. Oceans cover 71% of the Earth's surface, and the oceans hold about 96.5% of all of Earth's water. At water's triple point, where it must be at 32,018 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.01 degrees Celsius and 611,657 pascals, the solid, liquid, and gaseous phases coexist in equilibrium. Any slight change in temperature or pressure shifts it to a single phase. The scientific name for the moose is Alces alces. The repetition of the genus name, like in the previous example in the species name, is called a tautonym. While tautonyms are common in zoological nomenclature, they are not allowed in botanical nomenclature. A leopard never changes its spots. This belief is so popular that it became an idiom, but it's biologically inaccurate. They change their spots as they reach adulthood. The spots become more complex as they age. Hippocrates made an invaluable, yet often overlooked contribution to medicine by emphasizing the importance of maintaining medical records. His insistence that physicians document patient conditions, treatments, and outcomes paved the way for detailed case histories. This practice enabled doctors to learn from previous cases, recognize patterns, and improve their diagnostic and therapeutic methods. In 1884, Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT, was adopted as the international time standard at the Washington Meridian Conference in the USA, despite the fact that Greenwich is a city in England thousands of miles away. Jupiter is the solar system's speed demon when it comes to rotation. Its rapid spin causes the planet to bulge at the equator and flatten at the poles. A full rotation on its axis takes less than 10 Earth hours. There are likely closer to 250 billion pennies in circulation in the United States. This totals approximately 1.38 billion pounds in weight. The idea that classical, ancient Roman and Greek statues were always white is a misconception. They were originally brightly painted, but the colors have faded over time. Spotted Lake, located in British Columbia, Canada, is a fascinating natural wonder. During the summer months, as the water evaporates, the lake transforms into a mesmerizing display of colorful spots. These spots are actually mineral deposits left behind as the water recedes. Most dung beetles reproduce by burying dung either in a rolled ball or directly under the pile. Often, a male and female work together to create this brood chamber after mating. The female then lays her eggs inside, and the dung provides both food and shelter for the developing larvae. A Laysan albatross named Wisdom laid an egg at age 74, making it the oldest wild bird to ever lay an egg. There are approximately 900 different species of sheep in the world. The eyes of a sheep are placed on its head in such a way that they have a field of vision of around 300 degrees. They can see behind themselves to a large extent without needing to turn their heads significantly. The Dead Sea has a salinity of around 34.2%, which is about 9.6 times saltier than the ocean, which is around 3.5%. An elephant can smell water up to 3 miles or 4.8 kilometers away. The Congo River is the second longest river in Africa. Lake Victoria is Africa's largest lake by area, the world's largest tropical lake, and the world's second largest freshwater lake by surface area. It covers approximately 68,800 square kilometers and is shared by 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. The lifespan of a banyan tree can be over 250 years. Technetium is the first artificially made element. However, technetium does not have one stable isotope. As it was the first artificial element to be added to the periodic table, its name is derived from the Greek word for artificial or man-made. 5 to 10% of the population is stereoblind, also known as stereopsis impairment. A neurological condition called akinetopsia prevents those who suffer from it from perceiving objects in motion. They are able to see stationary objects acutely and normally, but when people or objects move, they experience seeing them as a series of snapshots, or like frames of a movie. Archimedes' principle explains why the water level rises when an object, such as a person entering a bath, displaces a volume of water. When salt dissolves in water, the water level rises, albeit slightly less than the volume of the dry salt added. This occurs because the dissolved salt ions interact with water molecules, causing a slight contraction in the total volume compared to the sum of the volumes of the separate salt and water. In the same vein, if you were to add half of a liter of alcohol into half of a liter of water, you would end up with less than 1 liter of total liquid. It's due to the hydrogen bonding and results in a space optimization that occurs at the molecular level. 3 Olympic Games were held in countries that no longer exist. Those countries are West Germany in 1972, USSR in 1980, and Yugoslavia in 1984. After China, the largest number of sheep can be found in Australia. With many more sheep than humans, there are approximately 100 million of these animals across the country. This also means that Australia is one of the world's leading producers of wool. A sentence that uses every letter in the alphabet is called a pangram. Phrase, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," is one of the most recognizable pangrams, but others include, "Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs," and "Crazy Frederick bought many very exquisite opal jewels." 63 countries celebrate their independence from Great Britain or the British Empire. That averages to about 1 every 6 days. Our North Star hasn't always been the same. Because the Earth's axis wobbles a bit, the star we use for navigation at the North Pole shifts over time. Back when the pyramids were being built, it wasn't Polaris. It was a star called Thuban that guided ancient Egyptians. We've explored some incredible facts, from the microscopic to the macroscopic. Remember, there's always more to learn, so keep exploring and keep questioning. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share with your friends. Until next time.